You've been eating fruit your whole life, and for most of your life, you are absolutely right to do it. Fruit is natural. Fruit is colorful. Fruit is what every doctor, every nutritionist, and every well-meaning family member has ever told you to eat more of. But here's something most doctors never sit down and explain to their patients over 60. After a certain age, and that age is right around where you are now, your body starts handling the sugar in fruit very differently than it did in your 30s or 40s. And when that happens, some of your most trusted, healthy foods can actually start working against you. Specifically, they can drive up belly fat, the stubborn, dangerous kind that wraps around your organs and refuses to budge no matter how much you walk or watch what you eat. I'm Dr. Leonid Kim, and on this channel, Senior Health Review, I make it my mission to give you the real science behind what's happening in your body as you age. Not to scare you, not to take away every food you enjoy, but to give you the information you deserve so you can make smarter choices. Today, we're talking about 8 fruits. Some of them will surprise you. In fact, fruit number 4 is something most of my patients eat every single morning, convinced it's one of the healthiest things they can do. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also tell you exactly what to eat instead. Let's get into it. Before we get to the list, I need you to understand why this happens, because this isn't about fruit being bad. Fruit is not bad. This is about biology, and specifically about what changes inside your body after 60. Change number 1, insulin sensitivity drops. Insulin is the hormone that takes sugar from your bloodstream and moves it into your cells for energy. When you're young and healthy, your cells respond quickly and efficiently to insulin. But as we age, that responsiveness slows down. Your cells start ignoring insulin signals. We call this insulin resistance, and it means that when you eat something sugary, even something natural like fruit, your blood sugar stays elevated for longer than it should. And elevated blood sugar over time gets stored as fat, particularly around the belly. Change number 2. Your liver processes fructose differently. The specific sugar in fruit is called fructose. Unlike regular glucose, fructose is processed almost entirely by your liver. When you're younger, your liver handles this gracefully. But as you age, especially if you have any degree of fatty liver, metabolic syndrome, or even just years of a Western diet, your liver's ability to process fructose efficiently declines. The overflow? Converted to triglycerides and stored as visceral fat. That's the deep belly fat I'm talking about. Change number 3. Hormonal shifts redirect fat to the abdomen. After 60, both men and women experience significant hormonal changes, declining estrogen in women, declining testosterone in men, and rising cortisol in both. These shifts, particularly the rise in cortisol, are directly linked to increased fat storage in the abdominal area. So when your body does store excess energy from food, it disproportionately sends it to your midsection. Now, I want to be very clear. None of this means you should stop eating fruit altogether. What it means is that the type of fruit, the amount, and the timing start to matter far more after 60 than they did before. And that's exactly what the next section is about. Fruit number 1, grapes. Let's start with grapes because almost everyone loves them and almost no one thinks twice about them. Grapes are convenient. You can eat them by the handful while watching TV, while reading, while having a conversation. And that's precisely the problem. A single cup of grapes contains about 23 grams of sugar, mostly fructose and glucose. That doesn't sound like a lot, but think about how you actually eat grapes. Do you measure out exactly 1 cup and stop? Or do you reach back into the bowl 2, 3, 4 more times? Here's what makes grapes especially tricky. They have a moderate glycemic index on paper, so they don't get the same warning labels that, say, candy does. But their glycemic load, which accounts for how much you actually eat, adds up very quickly. Eat 3 cups of grapes in an afternoon, which is easy to do, and you've consumed nearly 70 grams of sugar. For someone over 60 with reduced insulin sensitivity, that sugar hits the bloodstream quickly, triggers a significant insulin response, and what doesn't get used for immediate energy gets packaged and stored, often around the waist. What to do? If you love grapes, enjoy them, but portion them. 10 to 15 grapes is a serving. Pair them with a handful of walnuts or a small piece of cheese to slow down the sugar absorption. Fruit number 2, ripe bananas. Bananas are one of America's most popular fruits. They're cheap, they're portable, and for decades they've been marketed as the perfect natural energy food. And here's the thing, they're not entirely wrong. Bananas do provide energy. That's the problem. The key word is ripe. When a banana is still slightly green, its carbohydrates are mostly in the form of resistant starch, a type of fiber that moves through your digestive system slowly and doesn't spike blood sugar much at all. That's actually great for gut health and blood sugar management. But as a banana ripens and those brown spots appear, the ones that signal perfectly sweet, the resistant starch converts almost entirely into simple sugar. A fully ripe large banana can have a glycemic index of over 60 and contains about 27 to 30 grams of sugar. For seniors who are eating a banana every morning as part of a healthy breakfast, often with orange juice and cereal, by the way, they may be starting their day with a significant blood sugar spike before 8 a.m. What to do? Choose bananas that are just turning yellow with a hint of green. Eat smaller bananas or eat half. And if you're pairing it with breakfast, make sure that breakfast also contains protein and healthy fat, like eggs or Greek yogurt, to buffer the sugar load. Fruit number 3, watermelon. Watermelon feels like summer. It feels light. It feels like health itself. After all, it's mostly water, right? Yes, but the sugar that isn't water is the issue. Watermelon has one of the highest glycemic indexes of any fruit, around 72, which is considered high. Now, its glycemic load is somewhat moderated because of the water content. But here's how seniors typically eat watermelon. Not in small, measured portions. They cut a big slice, maybe 2, at a barbecue, a family gathering, or a hot summer afternoon. 2 generous slices of watermelon can contain over 20 grams of sugar and very little fiber to slow it down. That means it hits your bloodstream fast and hard. There's another issue specific to seniors. Watermelon is soft, requires no chewing effort, and feels refreshing rather than filling. So it's easy to overconsume without ever feeling like you've eaten much. What to do? Limit watermelon to 1 moderate slice at a time. Eat it earlier in the day rather than in the evening when your metabolism is slower. And don't use it as a replacement for a real snack. It won't keep you satisfied. Fruit number 4, mango. Here we are, fruit number 4, the one I mentioned at the start. Mango is beloved. It's tropical, it's sweet, it feels exotic and special. Many of my patients tell me they start every morning with a bowl of fresh mango or drink a mango smoothie. Some take mango supplements. Others use frozen mango in their morning shakes because they've heard it's packed with vitamins. And it is packed with vitamins. Vitamin C, vitamin A, folate. Mango has genuine nutritional value. But 1 cup of mango contains approximately 23 grams of sugar. And unlike grapes or watermelon, mango is often consumed as part of a smoothie, where it's blended, stripped of its fiber structure, and delivered to your bloodstream even faster than eating it whole. The combination of high natural sugar, popular health food status, and frequent smoothie use makes mango one of the most underestimated blood sugar culprits in the senior diet. What to do? Enjoy mango as an occasional treat, not a daily habit. If you use it in smoothies, use a smaller amount, say a quarter cup, and make sure your smoothie also contains protein powder, nut butter, or avocado to slow the sugar absorption. And never drink a mango smoothie on an empty stomach. Fruit number 5, dried fruits. Dried fruits are perhaps the most deceptive item on this entire list. Raisins, dates, dried apricots, dried cranberries. They're marketed as healthy snacks. They're added to trail mix, oatmeal, salads, and granola. They're small and portable. And for seniors who live alone and want a quick, no-prep snack, they seem like an ideal choice. Here's the reality. Drying fruit removes the water and concentrates everything else, including the sugar. A fresh grape has about 1 gram of sugar. A single raisin, which came from that grape, has nearly the same amount of sugar in a fraction of the size. This means you can eat far more sugar from dried fruit than from fresh fruit without realizing it. A quarter cup of raisins, a common single serving, contains about 29 grams of sugar. A quarter cup of dates can contain up to 40 grams. Many dried cranberries and dried mango slices have added sugar on top of their already concentrated natural sugars. And because dried fruits are dense and slightly chewy, they don't signal "I'm full" to your brain the way a larger piece of whole fruit does. What to do? If you eat dried fruit, think of it as a condiment, not a snack. A small sprinkle on your oatmeal? Fine. A handful from the bag while watching the news? That's where the trouble begins. Fruit number 6, canned fruit in syrup. This one is particularly relevant for seniors, and I want to address it with real compassion. Fresh fruit isn't always accessible. It goes bad quickly, it can be expensive. For seniors who live alone, who have mobility challenges, or who do their grocery shopping less frequently, canned fruit is a practical staple. I understand that completely. But most canned fruit, even the kind marketed as natural or light, is packed in sugar syrup. A half-cup serving of canned peaches in heavy syrup contains about 19 grams of sugar, much of which comes from added corn syrup or cane sugar. Even light versions often contain around 14 grams. And because canned fruit is soft and pre-cut, it's easy to eat a full can without really thinking about it. What to do? If canned fruit is your best option, that's completely okay, but look specifically for products canned in 100% fruit juice or water with no added sugar. Rinse them before eating to remove residual syrup. And if you can, keep a small supply of frozen fruit, no added sugar, in the freezer. It lasts, it's affordable, and it retains most of its nutritional value. Fruit number 7, fruit juice, even 100% natural. If there is one change on this entire list that I would ask every single one of my patients over 60 to make immediately, it's this one. Stop drinking fruit juice, even the 100% natural, no added sugar kind. I know that sounds extreme, so let me explain. When you eat a whole orange, you consume the sugar along with the fiber inside the orange. That fiber acts as a brake. It slows digestion, slows the release of sugar into your bloodstream, and helps you feel full. You also chew it, which takes time, and you're unlikely to eat 4 oranges in one sitting. When you drink a glass of orange juice, you've removed essentially all of that fiber. You're left with a liquid that contains the sugar of 3 to 4 oranges, delivered directly to your bloodstream in under 10 minutes, with nothing slowing it down. Your insulin spikes. Your liver gets a flood of fructose, and unless you're about to go run a mile, much of that energy has nowhere to go except into fat storage. A single 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 26 grams of sugar, almost as much as a can of Coca-Cola. Apple juice is even higher. And here's the behavioral trap. Most people don't drink just 8 ounces. They pour a glass. A normal glass is 12 to 16 ounces. That's 40 to 50 grams of sugar before breakfast. What to do? Replace fruit juice with whole fruit. 1 piece, not 3. If you need something to drink in the morning, try sparkling water with a few slices of cucumber or a squeeze of lemon. Your blood sugar, your waistline, and your energy levels will thank you within a week. Fruit number 8, pineapple. Pineapple has an excellent reputation, and in some ways it deserves it. It contains bromelain, a digestive enzyme with genuine anti-inflammatory properties. It's bright, flavorful, and feels tropical and healthy. But pineapple also has a relatively high glycemic index, around 59, and a single cup of fresh pineapple contains about 16 to 19 grams of sugar, with relatively modest fiber. When you eat it fresh and in reasonable portions, it's manageable. But pineapple rarely appears alone. It shows up in fruit bowls, in smoothies, on fruit platters, grilled at BBQs, in canned form with syrup, as juice. And because of its strong, healthy reputation, people tend not to moderate it. More importantly, pineapple's anti-inflammatory reputation can create a false sense of permission. A patient once told me she was drinking 2 glasses of pineapple juice every day because she'd read it was good for her joints. She was also puzzled why her belly fat had increased and her fasting blood sugar had climbed. Pineapple's benefits are real, but they don't cancel out the sugar. What to do? Enjoy pineapple in moderation. Half a cup is a reasonable serving. Avoid pineapple juice entirely. Use fresh or frozen pineapple chunks sparingly in cooking for flavor, rather than making it the centerpiece of a snack. Now here's the part I always look forward to, because this is where I get to tell you what actually works. The goal is not to eliminate all fruit from your life. Fruit contains vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber that support your immune system, your heart, your brain, and your gut. We're not giving that up. What we're doing is choosing fruits that work with your metabolism after 60, not against it. The top 5 belly-friendly fruits for seniors. Berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries are among the best things you can eat after 60. They are low in sugar, extremely high in antioxidants, and loaded with fiber. A cup of raspberries has only 5 grams of sugar and 8 grams of fiber. They're anti-inflammatory, they support brain health, and they have a very low glycemic index. Eat them every day if you can. Green apples. Slightly tart apples, like Granny Smith, have significantly less sugar than sweet red varieties and more pectin, a type of soluble fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria and slows sugar absorption. Eat them whole, with the skin. Avocado. Yes, avocado is technically a fruit, and it is arguably the best fruit you can eat after 60. It has almost no sugar, contains healthy monounsaturated fats that support heart health, and is loaded with potassium and fiber. It actively reduces inflammation and supports healthy cortisol levels. Grapefruit. Research has consistently shown that grapefruit can help reduce insulin resistance and support healthy blood sugar management. Half a grapefruit with breakfast is a powerful metabolic tool for seniors. Just check with your doctor if you're on any medications, as grapefruit can interact with certain drugs. Kiwi. Small but mighty. 2 kiwis contain about 13 grams of sugar, but also 4 grams of fiber, substantial vitamin C, and compounds that improve sleep quality, which, by the way, directly affects belly fat and cortisol levels. Before I close, I want to give you one simple framework to take with you. I call it the 2-2-2 rule, and my patients tell me it's the easiest thing they've ever used to manage their fruit intake. 2 servings of fruit per day, no more. After 60, 2 servings is plenty to get the benefits of fruit without overloading your system with fructose. 1 serving is 1 medium piece of fruit, half a cup of berries, or a small banana. 2 hours after a meal is the best time to eat fruit. Eating fruit on an empty stomach accelerates sugar absorption and spikes insulin faster. Eating it 2 hours after a meal, when your blood sugar is stable and your digestion is active, is far gentler on your system. 2 different fruits vary what you eat. Eating the same fruit every single day means you're loading up on the same sugars in the same amounts. Rotating between 2 different fruits, especially including berries, keeps your gut microbiome diverse and your nutrient intake more balanced. 2-2-2. 2 servings. 2 hours after eating. 2 varieties. Let me bring this all together for you. Your body after 60 is not broken. It's not failing you. It's changing. And the foods that served you well for decades may need to be adjusted to match where your metabolism is now. That's not a defeat. That's wisdom. The 8 fruits we talked about today, grapes, ripe bananas, watermelon, mango, dried fruits, canned fruit in syrup, fruit juice, and pineapple, are not poison. They are not your enemy. But consumed in the ways most Americans consume them, in the amounts most Americans consume them, they can quietly and steadily contribute to the belly fat that is so damaging after 60, the kind linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, joint pain, and cognitive decline. The shift is simple. Choose smarter fruits, watch your portions, pay attention to timing, and use the 2-2-2 rule as your daily anchor. This is not about eating less. This is about eating smarter after 60. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know which fruit on this list surprised you the most. I read every comment, and your questions help me decide what to cover next. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps more seniors like you find this information. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and the notification bell. Every week I put out new videos covering the real science of healthy aging in plain language that you can actually use. I'm Dr. Leonid Kim. Take care of yourself because you've earned it. I'll see you in the next video.